Hi, in this video we're going to talk about the report part of the HTML scraper provider. So as you may have seen in the other video, in action how we imported and ran the import. So we're not going to run an import now, but we already ran it, and that caused the provider to export three types of file. Well, it's one to three. It depends if you have. Definitely, there is going to be one file. It's the info file, which has everything that happened while we processed the import. And there's going to be another file called warnings, and that one only going to export if there were any warnings. And the error file, it's going to export only if there were errors. So we already have one dumb warning here that we should expect to see that in the exported. And then in the field level, we also have the warning text, but we did not select anything. So we're not going to see for field level as a report generated. This runs basically on field level when you're trying to see if any of these elements are exist in the field content that you just imported it. So let's review the files. So we already ran the import before, and that caused the program to generate those two files. So we didn't get any errors because of there was no error. Otherwise, you would have seen the same thing: content migration report dot error dot datetime. So let's review the warning one, which is fairly quick. And then as you can see here, if I show you how we have it mapped, this dumb warning, it has Facebook item, and that Facebook is right in here. Basically, it just checks if the DOM HTML contains this value, and it tracks the message. So in our report, we should see in the message, as you can see, it matches, says Facebook link was found in DOM HTML. So this is the warning, how it works. This would have the global warning tags for the processors and field level. The next file is the info, is where everything is stored, is very rich in information. So you can see here there are a lot of things happened. We have the operation part where it says what happened, and the item IDs, item name, URL, Sitecore path, and then the item that was fetched from, and a specific message. See here, the operation was cleanup. The cleanup is a processor, the post processor was applied to remove this class item that was in the title. And then the trim value happened on this, or on this as well. There's another trim value here happened on this URL, and on the company level URL, and so on. Here's another trim value. I'm going to show you exactly what happened here. So we added a trim on the title itself, and that applies for every single URL. And we taking the H1 in this mapping and putting it in our title field. For example, in the company here, we have this title field. But if we look at the HTML, this is how it comes. The source of this HTML is right in here. And as you can see, the H1 has the content, and there is all this like emptiness in here. So when we applied trim, that cleaned up all this space. And then in another page, for example, this other URL, there was another trim value. Sorry, there was this cleanup. Let's look at the cleanup here. And the URL, we fetched it from right in here. So if we look at the URL, so if we look at the H1, and as you can see, in the H1 there is this span class of page header subtitle. But because we added a cleanup on cleanup processor, remove title span, which is right down in here. This one says, when you find this in that title field, just remove it. So this is how it was cleaned up, and that was reported in here what happened. And there was a link update happened and so on. And then it specifies what content, what field name was that. And then here later on, you see there's a media import. And as we expect, actually the company had the images and the leadership also had images. They will all happen the media import on it. So this is the info file of the import as well.